Do, Ray, Bryan.
Hello, everybody. I'm Bryan,
I'm Bryan.
and this is Bryan versus Bryan, episode 12, Ghostbusters. Who you gonna call? Who you gonna watch? Who you gonna listen to? Ghostbusters. All right, man. Um, Ghostbusters, man. This is a pretty cool one. Love me some Ghostbusters. What is your earliest memories of Ghostbusters? They go back deep.
Yeah, I think it was Ghostbusters and Ninja Turtles were the two franchises I was obsessed with growing up. You know, my older brother had G.I. Joe and He-Man, and I had Ghostbusters and Turtles. So, yeah. I mean, in terms of watching the movies, I'm sure I watched them a shit ton as a kid, but I think I have a fonder memory of playing with all the toys and the traps and the plastic proton packs and
Oh yeah,
um, but yeah, growing up, I mean, as an adult, rewatching Ghostbusters as an adult, I mean, it's a classic. It's one of the best comedies ever.
yeah,
It's just like lightning in a bottle, man. All these actors and the right time, right place made one hell of
yeah.
a film.
Really good. I think I remember Ghostbusters as like my earliest memories are like 5 years old. I think when I really remember things like kindergarten. You know,
Hmm.
uh, I remember walking to school in kindergarten. I remember things pretty vividly. Before that, not really. Uh, and I remember Ghostbusters being a part of that. Like it wasn't the beginning of Ghostbusters because came out in '84, so it was around before I was. So pretty much my whole life I could ever do anything, there was been Ghostbusters in it.
Hmm.
But like you said, the movie was cool, but when you're that young and you're like 5, the movie doesn't make a lot of sense. It's a cool because they got cool suits, they got cool gadgets. The fucking car is really cool, so it's very toyetic to a kid, and it looks cool, and it's got creepy ghosts and a big fluffy marshmallow man. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
okay, this is for kids, when it's not. And
Slimer.
yeah, and so the show came out in 1986, 2 years after the movie, to try and because they were trying to get a sequel going, and they wanted to keep the hype up, they wanted to keep it relevant. So I remember mostly watching the cartoon. Did you watch the cartoon?
I don't think I did. I mean, maybe I did, but I don't have any, fond memories of watching it.
The Real Ghostbusters was the name of the cartoon, because there was another cartoon called Ghostbusters, and it was like had a monkey and fucking two other dudes, and they solved crimes about ghosts. It was like fucking Scooby Doo. It's fucking
Mm.
terrible. And I always heard the story was they couldn't get the rights for the cartoon name because of that cartoon. But I just read another article that said, uh, told the real story on that. It said they totally could, but they did that to spite that other cartoon. Like, oh yeah, we're gonna call ours the Real Ghostbusters. You ain't shit. This is this is what people think of when they think of Ghostbusters. So yeah, the cartoon mostly got me into it. Uh, you should check out the cartoon. I think it's on Netflix,
Mm.
and it's really awesome, dude. It's like I think it was started. It's like anime looking animation, dude. It's really cool animation, and the storylines are actually really good. There's some really cool ghosts, and the characters are really cool. Um, yeah, super cool. All their suits are like weird colors. Like the company I got this suit from makes the Real Ghostbusters suits. So I want to get Egon's. Egon's is like teal with like pink trim for the arms and the collar. I was like, that'd be kind of cool to get the cartoon suit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I suggest checking that out. Um, I've never met a Ghostbusters fan that didn't like the show. It's pretty cool. A couple little things about the show first before we start the movies, because we're not going to talk about the show really. So I'll get these fun facts out. These are kind of cool. So the guy that did the voice of Venkman in the show was the guy that did Garfield. So the first season or so, it sounds like Garfield, and I guess uh, Bill Murray saw the show and it's like, What do I sound like, Garfield? And then they fired the guy, and then they hired Dave Coulier from what's that show,
Mm,
Full House,
yeah.
and he's pretty much doing a Venkman impression during the rest of the show. Um, and for Winston's character, I guess uh, Ernie Hudson actually auditioned for the part and didn't get it.
Uh,
Yeah, it's terrible, dude.
okay.
It's the saddest thing I've ever heard. I was like, oh man, like first of all, he's lowering himself to like audition for this cartoon,
Hmm.
and then he doesn't get it when he is Winston. It's like, oh man, that sucks. But
That's bullshit. Yeah.
Arsenio Hall actually got the
Hmm.
part. So Arsenio Hall played Winston for like a season. That's before he got real big, and then he left. Anyways, that's Real Ghostbusters. Really awesome show, and that's where you get all the toys. So, I mean, without Real Ghostbusters, there would be no toys. There'd be no proton packs. There'd be no backpacks. Figures. So that was a really important thing, I think, to get kids into Ghostbusters. Because who knows? Maybe I wouldn't have liked Ghostbusters if it didn't have a cartoon and some really awesome toys, which it definitely did. So,
Yeah.
so let's get rolling on to 1984.
Hmm.
1984, Ghostbusters premieres. Uh, to much fanfare. Number one at the box office. I think it had a crazy run of staying in theaters too because it was so popular. Good word of
That
mouth.
made a shit ton of money.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like one of the most profitable comedies ever.
Yeah, which is I mean, the effects aren't cheap in it. It's not a cheap movie to make in 1984. It looks pretty awesome. It's got a lot of practicals. Well,
Hmm.
it's pretty much all practical, but then you got, matte paintings and
Yeah.
weird shit they do. I just love that stuff, man. That movie looks so good. It looks so grounded. I miss special effects like that.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, on top of that, the movie is genuinely funny and not over the top and silly. Like it's very grounded in reality. The jokes are kind of dry, not over the top.
Yeah,
Um,
it's super awesome. So super grounded. So they start you off so you can believe it. So they're not going crazy. So it's in
mhm.
a college. You start off them. That first, the first scene is a library scene, right? Yeah. Show the little old lady go to the library, get scared by the ghost, and that's a cool intro too. I think that's one of the
Yeah.
coolest movie intros. And then she's and you don't see the ghost, you just see kind of like some purple light shining on her and wind blowing her hair. And then the ghost logo just
Yeah.
it kind of forms in a black screen. It's like, God, that's
Hmm.
a cool intro. Like when I would play Ghostbusters, like I had the car and stuff, and you got the backpack, and I would imagine it in my head. I always imagine things, even still, like as a movie. I picture it like storyboarded in my head. And as I would play, I'd do something like a ghost breaks into here. Oh no! And then I'd see it in my head. It's that's how my play started. Each time
Yeah.
I played was like a movie.
Movie intro.
Yeah. Each time I played was a new entry in the series, and I had to have a very specific middle or beginning, middle, and end. I had to have a hero structure. It had all these things. Uh, but yeah, it starts out very grounded. There are three scientists at a college. Not much respect. They're fired. Um, they wonder what they're gonna do. Their buddy Egon is a super genius, and he's like has this idea of how to make equipment to catch ghosts. So that is, this is off screen that they built the proton packs and stuff. I kind of wish they would have had more about that.
Mm,
It's all of a sudden they just have them. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Because that could have been some funny stuff. Because they're talking about if the idea Spangler has on this PKE containment are true, we could really bust some heads in a
Hmm.
spiritual sense. So I kind of, it would have been cool to get some more on that, but they had to get it going.
Yeah.
And so they start being Ghostbusters, kind of low key. Nobody's uh, doing anything with them or getting any clients. They meet Dana. Zool's in her fridge, or Gozer, Zool, the coming of Gozer. Which one is the real boss? I always confuse the two.
I think it's Gozer, right? Or is it Zool? I don't fucking remember.
No, it is Gozer. Wait, yeah, I think so. Gozer the Gozerian.
Hmm.
Zool is the messenger of Gozer. It's just one of the two. You get them flipped around. As long as you know both names, you're fine.
David Bowie lady.
Yeah, dude. I just heard a funny interview. You ever seen the Josh Gad show, Reunion Together or something like that?
No.
Anyways, I forget what it's called. Together Apart or something. He does this cool internet show. You gotta check it out. Look for it. It's he takes cool 80s movies he loved. He's a fan like us, and he gets the whole cast like back together. And they all Zoom meeting and talk about it and have a little thing. And they did Ghostbusters.
Mm.
And they had everybody, dude. They had Sigourney Weaver, Bill Murray, all of them. And I remember they were saying something funny about that when you said the Bowie girl. Oh yeah, choose. What does she say? Choose the traveler, or something like that. Choose. Anyways.
Oh yeah.
Anyways, I guess they were making fun of her on set because I guess she has a super thick accent. Bill Murray's like, I couldn't understand what the hell she's saying. She just said, your shoes. I thought she kept saying shoes. It's like, as she read the script, and they're talking about it. It's pretty funny. But anyways, that's a way to plug that show. I was super cool. I had like a Ferris Bueller episode, like really cool. Back to the Future, really cool 80s movies where you don't see these people get together anymore, and they got together. So they defeat Gozer or Zool, whoever the hell it is, on the rooftop. And wouldn't you know it, the way to defeat him or her or it is to do the one thing you were forbidden to do the whole movie. That's always how it is, isn't it? You gotta cross the streams.
Don't cross the streams.
Yeah. Cross the streams. And remember Egon's explanation. Whoa, hold up. He's like, don't cross the streams. Our Ray says, don't cross the streams, it'd be bad. Hold up. I'm a little iffy on the whole good bad thing. What do you mean bad? And Egon's like, try to imagine all life as you know it ceasing to exist and every molecule in your body exploding at the speed of light. Like, okay, yeah, that's bad. Okay, good safety tip, Egon. He's like, that's the kind of the humor in it. The line. It's not an overtly funny thing to say, but it's delivered so dryly and so with that 80s panache. That guy, it's just so funny.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much the whole movie. So I don't know, you talk about some of your favorite moments in the movie or maybe what you really enjoy.
Yeah, I love the first job they take at the hotel, I believe.
Oh,
Which
yeah.
starts in a ballroom, and then you kind of go up in the hallways when they're chasing Slimer around. But that whole sequence is fantastic. The elevator scene is probably one of my favorite scenes. They're firing up the proton packs and they kind of shuffle to the corner.
And it's like, we've never had a truly successful test of this equipment. Like they're turning it on the first fucking time that they're ever catching a ghost. And then I think it's Ray that says, yeah, I blame myself. And then Peter just dryly, so do I. So anyways.
Yeah, or even getting on the elevator, like, what are you guys supposed to be? Cosmonaut? Or what's the line? Cosmonauts? No, we're exterminators.
Yeah,
must be some bug.
What are you, some kind of cosmonaut? Nah, exterminators. Somebody saw a cockroach up on 12. Must be some cockroach. And he's like, yeah, bite your head off, pal. Oh, that's so good.
Yeah. So yeah, that whole sequence is pretty memorable. Yeah, dude, there's just so many good jokes. I think you and I were talking off. I think it may have been just us having a conversation, but the whole, like, when they're going through the firehouse and they're going through all the problems, and Egon's like, I think this place should be condemned. And then you cut to Ray sliding down the pole. Hey guys, we should stay here and stay the night. See how it goes.
We should get our stuff. Stay here. Try it out. Yeah, that's another one of Egon. It's like almost every line is quotable. no matter what they say in the whole damn movie. And Egon's line on that part, they ask him what he thinks of the building because they're looking at the firehouse. He says, he looks at him. I think this building should be condemned. There's serious metal fatigue in all the load-bearing members. The wiring is completely inadequate for our power needs, and the neighborhood is like a demilitarized zone. And then, yeah, and then Ray comes sliding down the pole, super excited, and they have the moment where Egon and Peter look at each other, and the realtor looks over. So, what do you think? And then I think we'll take it. And then there's a really funny part after that. That's another. God, it's just every line. It's like, God, we just spend this episode quoting the movie, where it's like they've signed for the house, right? I don't remember where they are or what they're doing. I feel like it's in Walking or something. But Ray's like, well, what does he say? It's like something super ridiculous. It's like, what, 19%? You didn't even bargain with the guy. like the
oh, he's taking out the loan, the bank loan or whatever.
Yeah, 19% on a fucking like a loan that large.
Yeah.
At 19%, you didn't even. It might even be higher the number. I'm just pulling that out my ass, but I know it's really high. So he didn't even bargain with the guy. He's like, "Don't worry, Ray. Everyone has 3 mortgages nowadays. You're gonna be fine." And then, we are on the cusp of developing the indispensable science of the next generation: ghost investigations and eliminations. I love that scene. It's like the franchise rights alone will make us rich beyond our wildest dreams. That's one of my favorites.
And also, we can't not talk about maybe the hidden star of the film, which is Rick Moranis, who just fucking kills it in this movie, man. Every time he's on screen, it's just a delight, man. It's so good.
Yeah, he is so good. A lot of that's ad-libbed, him coming from Second City, right? And I think Ivan Reitman had a lot to do with Second City, right? I don't know much about Second City, but I know that's where he grabbed his talent from, usually. That character was going to be John Candy. They gave him the role. He thought the character was too small in the film. He wanted to be more involved. And but I guess he did read for it a couple times. In an interview I was watching with Reitman, he's like, John Candy kept wanting to do it with a German accent. And I told him, we don't want the German accent. He's like, I think I need a German accent. And he kept reading it in a German accent. And he's like, I need 2 dogs, 2 big German shepherds. He's like, why? It's not in the script. It's like, I just feel the character would have these 2 dogs. And then I guess Reitman was like, well, they're already 2 demon dogs. People are going to get confused. And so things weren't working out. And John Candy just walked away. He didn't want to do it. And he offered it to Rick Moranis. And I guess Rick read the script and immediately called Reitman back and said, John Candy's an idiot. It's like, I'll take it.
I'm glad he did.
And so, yeah, he just kills it. He's so funny. Like the party.
Yes.
That's the best, dude.
He's
Where he makes up the intros to those people walking in the door. He just makes up these intros like, hey, it's Ted and Annette, everybody. It's Ted and Annette Fleming. They own a small hardware store in receivership. They owe $70,000 on their house on 1.9%, so they're all right.
Dude, it's so good.
Yeah, he's so funny. He's talking to the chick and they're dancing. He's like, you think it's too warm for the brie? Everything he says is so good. He's so funny. Definitely a breakout character. And then when he does when he gets possessed, like they didn't have any direction for him in the interviews I've seen about his possession. And he just went with it, and it's like one of the best possession scenes in any movies ever. It's played for comedy, but it's just so genuine. You feel like that is somebody inhabiting Rick Moranis's character, not Rick Moranis,
Yeah.
Like it's an entity inside Louis Tully. So you still see some Louis Tully, but you can tell there's something in there. It was played very well.
It's an animal, right? The dog. He's like
Yeah,
playing as a dog,
yeah. I think
like a
he's
beast.
not necessarily a dog. I think that's how it manifests and it shows itself. But it's like what is the Keymaster? This
Oh yeah, yeah.
the character, the Keymaster.
Mm-hmm.
When he's telling the stories to Egon, and he's got the bowl on his head, and
Oh
then
yeah, yeah, that's right.
on the screen you see the dog head that's showing up from the diodes, and
Yeah.
he's like, I'm the Keymaster. I'm looking for the gatekeeper, and all that, and it's like he's like, oh yeah, the traveler must be chosen, and the it's like in the Dragite Syndicate, it was chosen the form of the mighty Slore. Many Drogites knew what it was to be roasted in the depths of the Slore that day, I can tell you. It's just like, just the dialogue that doesn't roll off the tongue at all, and he's making it up, and it's like, oh God, it's so good. So good. That's what happens on this movie. Like everyone in the cast is like, except Ernie Hudson and Sigourney Weaver, are like writers and improvisationalist actors. So it comes to
and,
it's so good.
and also believers of this stuff. I mean, at least Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah, Dan Aykroyd is. Yeah, he knows all the vernaculars and like he
Mm-hmm.
believes in ghosts. I guess his grandfather and father had some kind of history where they're paranormal investigators.
Yeah.
So he kind of wrote this from his own history, and so he knew all these terms, like because he's like, I wanted to bring some of the scientific terms into it to ground it, to so you could actually believe some of the stuff was going to happen. And he's like, I've heard people talk about him, and they're like, if you gave him enough money, he could build this stuff. Like he's so into it. And then the first script was very crazy. I guess he brought it to Reitman, and it was just too expensive. It would have been so expensive to do that, and the end result wasn't very cheap. So I don't know what they did in that script. I think he's talk about like going to hell and stuff, and just all crazy stuff. So they had to bring in a writer to help him rewrite it, and it was Harold Ramis, and he helped him ground it more. But they all said that it was pretty much there, and it was awesome. Dan Aykroyd talked about Ramis. I guess he knew all this stuff too. He didn't believe in ghosts, and he made that very clear. But he knew exactly, like Dan Aykroyd was like, I could throw out these terms and these 18th century psychological philosophers, and he'd know the reference and talk about them. And he's like, that's how I knew he was the perfect writing partner. And then they came up with one of the greatest comedies of all time. And it's weird to call this a comedy.
Yeah.
Doesn't it feel weird?
Mm-hmm.
Because it doesn't feel like a comedy at all, right?
Yeah, because like we were saying earlier, because the comedy is just so dry and grounded and not. Because I mean, the problem with, at least I have, this is a little more of my rant about modern comedies, but modern comedies, for the most part, are very cartoonish. They try to ground in reality, but then at some point, there's always a chase scene and everything's all ridiculous and nonsensical. But this is way, it's very grounded and very real, and I don't know. It's not over the top, so it doesn't feel like
it feels like a science fiction adventure movie, right? That's what it feels like. That's what it's always felt like. I never put two and two really together that this was a comedy as a kid until later in my adult life, when everyone calls it a comedy. And I was like, why do they call it a comedy?
Yeah.
I mean, as a kid, I didn't get many of the jokes, so it wasn't very funny. You know what I mean? It was just a good movie.
Yeah.
Like you strip away the comedy, like a kid that doesn't understand the comedy, and it's an enjoyable movie because it's a science fiction ride. It's like, it's strange. This movie works on so many levels. And that's probably why it's one of the greats, and why it's had its longevity in the public spotlight, right? I mean, this thing ain't going nowhere. You got a fucking sweater on from a movie that came out in 1984, bro.
Yeah.
I got a fucking costume on that came out last year from a movie that came out in, well, this is a different movie. This is 1989, but still, like, what kind of a movie is still getting merch pumped like this? Other
Yeah.
than other than Star Wars, I think that's about it.
I
It's
mean,
probably
this
the
is
only.
probably one of the most,
Yeah,
recognizable
yeah.
icons from a franchise. Yeah,
Isn't
I
that
guess other
crazy?
than Star Wars.
Isn't that crazy to have like a perfect symbolization of the movie?
Hmm.
It's like that is no other. What other? I can't think of anything else. Any other movie that has something like that, like has a symbol that's just like that's it. That's it. I
Yeah.
can't think of. I really can't think of one. It's it's like Coca Cola or Pepsi or something. It's like a
Right. Yeah.
product. It's like a product. It's like the Pepsi globe. It's like, how does a movie have something like that? It's so strange. And a very good point. And I remember an interview I just watched with Reitman and Aykroyd, and he asked about that symbol, and he's like, Reitman says, "Oh, this was in the original script, the original first draft. He had this drawn in there." I was like,
Wow.
"Damn, dude, he had that drawn from the first day he started writing." It's like that symbol, which is endured and is just as famous as the movie now, if not
Hmm.
more. I bet people know that symbol who have never seen the movie. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
100%.
So that's crazy. That's such a good, and it looks cool. It's still fucking an awesome fucking symbol, right? Even
Yeah.
the second one, I was like, they did
Hmm.
really good on this one. I was like,
Yeah.
dude, both of these symbols are legit as fuck.
Yeah. Legit can't think of any other franchise that has this, especially like you were saying. Like if I walk anywhere in public, even if people haven't seen it, they know what it is, even without have seen the movies. You know what I mean? There's not a whole lot of movies that have
Yeah,
that
even
icon.
even Star Wars, which
Hmm.
is I would say more iconic, has more
Yeah.
merch, but it doesn't have nothing like that where it's like something maybe like a lightsaber, but
Yeah.
that's not a symbol. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Like maybe the logo, the Star Wars, the yellow outline, but that's not
Yeah.
a logo either. That's the fucking name of the movie.
Hmm.
So yeah, no one has that. It's really cool. And you could I've seen it churched up so many different ways, dude. And it's pretty cool to see. Like they'd have slime dripping off of it. You can fucking I saw a recent one for Halloween Ghostbusters merch. It was a pumpkin that he's coming out of, and
Oh, that's cool.
just so many things you could do with that.
Hmm.
So yeah, good point on the symbol. And that's a very big part of Ghostbusters, almost as big as the movie itself. It's like it's
Yeah.
crazy. But yeah, and then as a kid, it's not a kids movie, but it's like I said, I think kids like it because it's an adventure. It's
Hmm.
coming from nothing to save the world. Kids love that kind of stuff. Did you think it was scary as a kid? I've heard some people think it's scary as a kid. I never found it scary.
I don't remember ever being scared of the first. The second one, there is some imagery that scared me as a kid growing up. I think I have more memories of watching the second one growing up than I do the first. Because I was born in '86, so '89 was kind of a '89 '90. With I was watching Ghostbusters 2 more
Yeah,
because the original came out before I was born. But so yeah, in terms of the first one, I don't remember anything scaring me. But in the second one, there is some imagery that freaked me out.
yeah, for sure. Well, I guess that's the perfect way to go into number two. Or
Segue.
unless there's anything else you want to say about one, I think there's
Um, no, I mean, what's more to say that hasn't been said, over the year? I mean, it's a classic and it's for good reason. If there's anybody out there who hasn't seen it, please watch it.
yeah,
um,
please.
yeah, and I was lucky enough in 2014 they re-released it in theaters. I was lucky enough to go see it on the big screen, which was really fun.
That's awesome.
But yeah,
Uh, yeah, please go see it if you haven't. I don't. I think there's anybody really watching this that probably hasn't seen it.
yeah,
But come on, if you haven't, please, please, please do yourself a favor. Um, what was I gonna say? Ghostbusters. Yeah, watch it. Oh, I was gonna say it's a great Halloween movie.
yeah.
Around Halloween time, it's a great one to pop on. So Ghostbusters 2, 1989.
Boom.
Um, yeah, I mean the Ghostbusters did so well that Sony was No, Columbia Pictures, right, at the time. I think it's now owned by Sony. Columbia Pictures was wanting a sequel. They were pushing hard because other stuff they were doing was not comparing to Ghostbusters' success. So they were like, dang, we just need a new Ghostbusters. That'll get us back where we need to be.
Mm-hmm.
And it took a while to convince everybody, the cast and everything, because it was such a, lightning in a bottle type of movie. And it's dangerous to make sequels to those. But in the end, everyone says they did it because they just had so much fun working on the first one that they wanted to get back together with your buddies and film and do all that. So 1989. So did you rewatch Ghostbusters too?
I did. I actually watched it before we started recording. Got up nice and early at 6 a.m. and
Damn.
had some coffee and watched it. So it's very fresh in my mind.
So how does the watch mesh with the memories? Different feelings about it watching it again, or pretty much what you remembered, or
pretty much what there's a lot that I actually forgot, which was pretty shocking because there's big scenes. I'm like, oh yeah, fuck, I forgot. I completely like the courtroom scene. As I was watching it this morning, all I kind of remember were like the river of the slime and like the construction scene stuff, the stuff in the carriage in the beginning. But then when the court scene, fired up, I'm like, oh fuck, I forgot about the goddamn court scene. But yeah, so there's some things that I forgot, some things I remembered. I unfortunately think it's not as good as the second or the first. I think there's some issues with it, but I think it is a strong sequel. I just don't think it's as good as the original. I think it has a problem of retreading the same kind of story beats as the first. But there are some phenomenal scenes in the second one. A lot of great humor from Egon specifically. But yeah, that's kind of my. I thought it was fine.
I don't think it's better. Typically, I'll watch Ghostbusters 2 over 1 though, just because I don't know why. It's just a fun watch.
Yeah.
I've seen Ghostbusters 1 so many times.
Yeah.
I've seen Ghostbusters 2 probably more, so I guess that's not a good excuse. My history with Ghostbusters 2 is, remember Sunburst Video down there? So we'd always go there on the weekends and rent a movie, and I would always rent Ghostbusters 2 because it had a cool box too. The box art, like it's all black and they got the gray suits on, and like two of them have the slime blowers, and it's the Ghostbuster 2 symbol behind them. It's like, that's a really cool box art poster. And so I'd always rent it, and I remember pissing my mom off. She says, why do you keep renting the same goddamn movie? It's like, I want to see it. You've already seen it. I'll see it again.
Yeah.
And now I realize, I was looking back, I was like, why did I do that? Why didn't we just buy it? But I was watching an interview. So Ghostbusters came out to video very quickly because they wanted to have, Ghostbusters and Batman came out in the same year. Batman 1989. And they wanted to have those VHSs out before Christmas to get that Christmas market. So they released them, but they were meant to be for like video stores, not for private purchase. So they were like $99.99 to buy the VHS. So
Jesus.
Now it makes sense why I didn't own it for a very long time, because they priced it super, super high so that only like the video stores would buy it, and then they make their money back through renting it. But that's how a lot of those VHSs were, dude. They were expensive as shit. And mostly that's why people rented so much, because you didn't want to buy it. You just go rent it.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. That was a cool little tidbit I learned. As like, I always wondered why we were renting it, but yeah, I'm not gonna buy it with my parents. $100 Ghostbusters movie? That sounds like bullshit to me. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
But anyways, let's go through the movie, kind of chronological order, and we can talk about what we liked, what we didn't like, was some maybe fun parts. So it starts out 5 years later. I think it's a cool way to start it, because it is 5 years later, and they show the black card. 5 years later. And then
that's the first thing that pops up. I kind of like that.
Yeah, it was cool. And then what did it start with? It starts with the slime bubbling up to the
With the
crack.
crack.
That's a
Yeah,
really
yeah.
cool, that's a cool looking
Yeah.
image right there. It was a super clean shot,
Mm-hmm.
and then the slime was nice and translucent and kind of came through the crack. I was like, dude, that's some cool looking imagery. Even as a kid, I was like, the first time, trying to think back to the first time you've seen Ghostbusters 2 because you loved the first one. And even though we're young enough to have, we could have watched Ghostbusters 2 first because, right, they're both out. But I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure I watched them in order because I knew about Ghostbusters before. Yeah, pretty sure. Anyways. And then the carriage goes through the goop,
Mm-hmm.
and we see it's Dana Barrett, and she's got a baby. And we're like, oh no, where's the baby come from? So carriage gets possessed and starts rolling around, interweaving in cars. Another fun fact, I learned all this shit in interviews, that buggy was like a RC car rigged up, like all RC parts rigged up to somebody could control it, and they had to have this RC car like champion drive it because he had to interweave. He did all that shit, weaved in between all the cars and all that from like 120 feet away, like
Damn.
just kind of watching and having to get it just right for the. I was like, damn, that's impressive, and it was pretty cool to learn. And so yeah, I thought that was a pretty cool scene. I've watched it so many times as a kid. I remember the part where she's like, "Hey, could you help me with my groceries?" to that guy. It's like within the first like 20 seconds. Hey,
Yeah.
I'm not the I'm not the doorman, Miss Barrett. I'm the building superintendent. And it's like it seems so like he's having to give the audience the story.
Yeah.
Hey,
On the nose.
I'll tell you who am I, and I'll
Yeah.
tell the audience too.
It's pretty on the nose.
And she's like, yeah, but you're a human being. Hey, it's not my job, but I'll do you a favor, eh? Hey, your baby's leaving. Anyways, and then, so the car almost hits the baby carriage, and then you have another. I thought that was a really good intro for this one too. Mm-hmm. Another almost hit the baby. She runs up, oh my God, grabs the baby, holding him, and then black Ghostbusters 2 this time fades in, and you see, I was like, oh shit, it's on. Mm-hmm. Loved it. It's then we see the Ecto car. It's all beat
dirty
up.
As fuck.
Yeah, it's all beat up, and it's sirens going, smoke billowing out, and they're driving chaotically. So like, oh, so you think if you're a first time watcher that they're going to a call or something, right? And they pull up to a house, talk to this lady. How many of them are there? Ladies like, there's like 14. And they're like, how big are they? I'm like, around about this big. And they look at each other.
Yeah.
And then it's a birthday party.
Mm-hmm.
We find out the Ghostbusters are doing birthday parties. And it's funny that you mentioned a He-Man. Your brothers were fans or whatever you said, because in this scene, it's where they start playing the song for the kids. Who are you going to call? He-Man! He-Man! Which is funny because I was watching Nostalgia Critic, and he's talking about that scene, and he's like, and then they start yelling He-Man. And he's like, this movie came out in 1989. You know what was not popular in 1989? He-Man. You know what was popular in 1989? Ghostbuster. It's like, why would they say this? Because, He-Man toys, when the Ghostbuster toys came out, He-Man toys began seeing a dramatic drop in sales. Dramatic. Because Ghostbuster toys, and then later, Turtles toys took over the market. And so, it did make some sense. I was like, yeah, He-Man. I remember not liking He-Man. So I remember watching the show. Like, even as a kid, it comes on, I'm like, fuck He-Man.
I want the real Ghostbusters. My dad tells me you're full of crap. Yeah,
so it's got Jason Reitman in there playing that part. I always thought I remembered it. You're full of shit in my mind, but it's crap. But I don't know why I remember it that way, because I guess because I like to curse.
Yeah. It's funny that
Yeah,
I guess his daughter's in there too, which I didn't know
his
in the movie.
daughter.
Yeah,
It,
she plays the little girl with the puppy in
oh,
Egon's experiment.
okay. Let's see what happens when we take away the puppy. Yeah, that's some good stuff. Uh, so yeah, that's Jason Reitman. That's the director's son saying that I think you guys are full of crap. You know, my dad said you guys are full of crap, and that's why you went out of business. Anyways, he's directing and co-writing the new Ghostbusters Afterlife. Check out our trailer reaction if you haven't already. So then we move on to those scenes with Egon in the I don't know where he's working. He's in a lab. I don't think he's out of school anymore. Oh yeah, it is. It
Yeah,
is.
I think he is. Yeah.
It is. Yeah, it is school because later on, Venkman's like, "So how's school, Egon?" I bet chicks really dig that large cranium of yours.
Yeah.
Then Egon's like, "I think they're more interested in my epididymis."
Venkman just stares at him.
Yeah, like he doesn't. He's like, "Okay." I had to look that up. Like epididymis is like the skin on like your
The
scrotum,
scrotum. Yeah.
and I was like, "Ooh, that's a deep cut." I was like, "Hey, yeah, they're more interested in my fucking balls." Anyways, and he's doing this research, and there's a good moment where he's researching like because this will foreshadow the movie. He's researching negative emotions and how they can physically manifest, right? And he's like, yeah, we locked these people. They think they're here for marriage counseling. They've been in this room for 3.5 hours. We've been slowly increasing the temperature in the room. It's up to 95. And they're just yelling in there. And he's like, now my assistant's going in and asking if they mind waiting another 40 minutes. And then, so Dana's telling him, yeah, fucking baby. It's crazy, took off and all this stuff and asking for help from the Ghostbusters. They can't practice as Ghostbusters anymore, but you know, they can investigate for her. And I thought that was a really cool scene where she's like, don't tell Venkman. He's like, oh no, of course. And she's got her back to him. And she's like, does he ever mention me? And he kind of turns around. It has the thing that he's
Oh yeah, he's like
doing
scanning her.
something with. And he's like,
Yeah.
no. And he like scans her.
Mhm.
That's a pretty good scene. But anyways, yeah, I feel like it's fresher in your mind. Why don't you take over and start walking us through? I always feel like I talk too much in these things. You can talk.
No, you're good.
You can talk, and I'll kind of jump in and react. Maybe if I think there's something interesting.
Yeah.
You can,
So yeah, Dana tries to enlist Egon and Ray to kind of investigate the carriage scene that opens the movie. And then, yeah, you get the mention of Venkman. So you, as an audience, like, something happened between Dana and Venkman and it didn't end well. And then we cut to Venkman and what he's doing lately. And he's a host of some like local channel psychic show, which is
World
a
of the
fantastic
Psychic
opening for his character. And a great scene where he's talking to two psychics, one of which thinks the world's going to end by New Year's, and the other one doesn't think it's going to end, or it's going to end in 2016 or February 14, 2016.
Yeah, that's
a really fun scene.
Let's stop on that scene because that's super funny.
Yeah.
It's really, as a kid, I liked seeing where they were in their lives now because people criticize this movie as being very slow. I think it's like 40 minutes or something or 30 minutes before you even see them as Ghostbusters or something like that. Could be even longer. But I didn't mind the slowness. I don't think it's that slow because I enjoy it. The first movie's kind of slow to build too. But I enjoyed seeing where they were. Like I enjoy these scenes. Like when he's hosting the show, I enjoyed that scene. It's like, welcome back to World of the Psychic. I'm Peter Venkman. And when he's interviewing the guy who says the world will end on New Year's Eve, the guy who's right? Because it's going to end if Vigo has his way. He's like, well, hold on, Milty. New Year's Eve this year? He's like, yes, this year. He's like, wait a minute. Just from a sales perspective, you're not going to get any paperback or any paperback sales of your book for at least a year.
For at least, yeah.
It's going to be at least another year before, if you know you got that miniseries or movie of the week deal. Shouldn't you have said, hey, the world's going to end in 1993 or better
Or
yet,
even 1994.
1994? He's like, this is not some money-making scheme. Anyways, I love that part. This I love this part where he's like, he's talking about the next episode. He's like, next week, hairless pets. And he's got the hairless cat.
Yeah.
It's like, this
Weird.
is Peter. Yeah, it's like Peter Venkman saying, see you then. And he doesn't say the like, see you next week. He just points at his head. It's good. Good scene.
I love this scene where right after that, he's walking with I'm assuming his producer, and he's like, where do you find these people? And he goes, well, no real psychics want to come on the show. They think you're a fraud. And I am a fraud.
I am a
so
fraud.
Good.
I thought we were going to have the guy that bends the spoons.
So yeah, then we go to Venkman going into Ray's bookstore that apparently he has now, where him and Egon are kind of researching some possibilities of what could be happening or what happened with Dana. And Venkman finds out that they're researching some case for Dana, which then leads them to Dana's house, which is another fun little comedy sequence with them kind of fucking around the house.
Let's stop on the bookstore. Every scene, there's a little bit to unpack.
Yeah.
The bookstore is really cool. See that Ray's got this bookstore going. I don't know how many mortgages does this guy have now. You know what I mean? He just lost the firehouse. He got sued for millions. He said, hey, let's go fucking buy a building and make a bookstore now. But I love that. Peter comes in and Ray's like, I just watched it yesterday too. And he's like, Peter, your book came in. He's like, oh, okay. He's like, magical pathways to fortune and power. And then Egon's
good luck with that.
Good luck with that, Peter. He's like, will you put it on my tab, please? Thank you. And then it's classic Peter's like, I want you to close up this shop so you can go buy me a calzone. He just had the book put on his tab, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, go buy me a pizza while you're at it, bitch. And shut down your business early and don't make more money. And it's like, oh, it's ridiculous. And he has a television show, right? And he's can't pay for his own calzone. And then, he's like, what are you guys doing? Oh, we're just researching something for an old friend. Oh, that's nice. Who? Nobody. Just nobody. Who? He's like, I can't tell you. And he does the ear thing. Who? Grabs his ears and pulls them up. He's like, no. He's like, Dana Barrett. And he's like, it's not
Dana Barrett?
Yeah. And I thought the line from Peter when he first comes in, I always thought was about Dana, because he comes in, he just walks in the store. First thing he says, he's like, hello, I'm looking for a love potion aerosol that I can spray on a certain penthouse pet to receive her total submission. I always thought he was talking about like her in the dog form. It's almost was what I thought that line was about, because it didn't make much sense other than being about that. Because you remember in the first one, he's like, yeah, so what? She's turned into a dog. And so what, Yeah. So I always thought that line was about that, because I was like, what the fuck else would he be talking about? Kind of.
Right.
But that's all I had to interject on that scene. I thought that it's a short scene, but I thought it was a really cool scene. I really liked it.
Yeah. So that leads them to Dana's house, and they're kind of poking around. They do a diagnosis of the baby, which is pretty cute and fun.
Yeah.
And then they go into the baby's room, which there's some really good lines in there. Where like, what was it? A lot of toy. Or my parents didn't believe in toys. With Egon.
It's he walks. This is my favorite Egon stuff. Like I still quote this one to this day. He's like, oh, it's very cheerful. My parents didn't believe in toys. And then Dana kind of leaves, and then they do a little bit more, and then Ray kind of comments on that a little bit later, and he's like, so you didn't even have a slinky? And he's like, I had part of a slinky once, but I straightened it.
It was like a nice little beat. Like I had a half of one, but then I straightened it.
Like I still use I still use that quote. Part of a slinky once, but I
Mhm.
straightened it. Like, such an Egon thing to say.
Yeah. Um, but then this kind of goes into my tiny issue with the film, which is I think that a lot of the Dana and Venkman stuff is I don't know, it's not the greatest, and also like the score is very weird in their scenes. Like it kind of feels like a romantic comedy. It feels very different. I think the score really shines when scary stuff, and like I think the score is great. But then every time there's a scene between Venkman and Dana, it just feels like very romantic comedy. And I don't know, it's a weird thing. But where do we go from there?
Well, and that to talk about that the Dana's apartment a little bit more. Um, yeah. So in the original script, they were together,
Mhm.
Peter and Dana, and that's it was their baby. It was going to be their baby, which kind of is a strange dynamic. And I remember the reason they changed it is because Bill Murray thought the movie became way too much about Venkman.
Mm.
If it's his baby and the stakes are all on him, it's his baby, it's his wife, and like he wanted it to be more about the Ghostbusters, and that kind of makes sense to me. I can see
Yeah.
that if it's they're together this whole time, it does really focus the whole movie on them,
Yeah,
right?
he kind of becomes the protagonist of the film instead of an ensemble.
Yeah, and it's it's his baby, it's his wife, it's his problem, right?
Hmm.
It's the Venkman problem, not a Ghostbusters problem. So it makes sense why they did it the way they did. It doesn't, uh, yeah, it doesn't have the same cue. Like one of the things I've heard is, in the first one, he's kind of a arrogant ass, but he's persistent, and that's why
Yeah.
he gets the girl. He's just constantly trying. But then in the second one, she already knows him, and he's already disappointed her and was terrible. So now he's trying again, but I've heard, it wouldn't make sense why she'd want to do it again. She's already seen the results, you know.
Right.
But yeah, I agree that that part of it isn't that great. Oh yeah, and
Yeah, I don't mind. Oh, go. Sorry, go ahead.
I wanted to say there's another amazing line in that scene where it's like, yeah, the baby seems fine, and then it's Egon talking to Peter. He's like, I like to run some gynecological tests on the mother, and then Peter's like, yeah, who
Who
wouldn't?
would? um, yeah, I don't mind necessarily that he's trying to get her back because you can chalk it up to like he made a mistake and he realizes he made some mistakes, so he's trying to kind of reconnect. But I just feel like there's so many scenes of that, and they're very long, and it's like it's 5 scenes too many. You know what I mean? It takes up a lot of the screen time. Um, but yeah, other than that, I don't mind the idea of them trying to get back together. In terms of the what you were saying, some criticisms of that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then we get to another kind of unsung hero or a star
Oh
of the
yeah.
film, which is Dana's job, what she's doing, and she works at a gallery as a painter. And we were introduced to Janos, the her boss. But
Janos.
you love Janos, so I'm going to let you take over this one because
Dude, Janos is amazing. Peter
everything you're
Mc,
doing is wrong. I just want you to know
yeah,
this.
Peter Peter McNichol, and he just came up with that accent. They, you know, I can't remember. They wrote him to be a straight man, a normal straight guy, to
Yeah,
to conflict with to bring the audience into this painting and this ghost possession, like to have a normal person that I don't know. But anyways, that's how he was written originally. And I think he had like he there's something about he was gonna have a dark brown wig or something like a weird bowl cut and just be a normal guy. But now he has this zany curly hair, and he came up with this like he calls it a uh, European Eastern European accent or something. I don't know what kind of accent it is, but it's super funny as shit.
yeah,
And yeah, this guy every time he's on screen. glows.
Mhm.
Like you just quoted. The first thing he says is gold. He walks by somebody,
Yeah.
restoring a painting. Everything you're doing is wrong. I, I want you to know this. And he just keeps walking.
But I love it.
Uh,
He says it while he's walking. He doesn't even stop to like.
yeah.
He's just like
Oh yeah, he's
he's just
walking,
walking
but
by.
everything you're doing is wrong.
Yeah.
And he does that little.
Yeah. So
So
good.
good.
And he says something else to another employee, and he goes, "No one listens to me."
What are you doing? No one listens to me. Yeah, I don't remember what he says before that either, but that's funny.
Yeah.
And then he comes up to Dana, and he's got the hots for Dana. And he's like, "Oh, hello, Dana. How are you? How's the Vonington coming?" And she's restoring this painting, and she's saying, "It's coming along fine. The mixture you made me is really great. It's I don't know, it's some kind of mixture where I guess you rub it. I don't know what the fuck they're doing restoring paintings. They're getting rid of grime on the old ass paintings or something, I assume."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Well, yes, I make a pretty good cocktail, don't I? Yes." And then he like touches her hair, and she's like, "The fuck?" He's like, "Oh, the white thing, oh.
White fuzz. White
little
ball.
white, little white thing." I mean, it's like, Dana, what are you doing tonight? Would you like to, go to dinner or something?" He just said, "No, I can't, Janos." And I love, yeah, God, all of his dialogue. And he's like, why does this happen, Dana? Every time I say, "Dana, can you do something?" You say, "No, I can't do something." "Do I have a bad breath or something?" And then she says, "No, of course not." And as she does that, she turns to Cameron and goes,
Yeah.
"Oh, it's so good." It's like, "Well, I'll give you a rain check, okay?" Uh, Everything he says.
So yeah, and then oh, I guess I got to back up. So part of the research at Dana's house, they actually go out into the street to kind of investigate the street,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
and they come onto the street, and their was it EKG meters going off the charts, and I forget what Egon's holding, but they're kind
It's
of
a
pointing it at the street, and
yeah.
they see a lot of activity. So then they come back at night with Egon fucking grinding the street to hell, and a police car comes up, and they're like, "What are you doing?" "Who, me?" "Yeah, you. What are you doing?" And so then,
Boss,
boss.
who told you to stop cutting? Did he tell you to
Yeah.
stop cutting?
And then Venkman and Ray rush over and try their best to weasel out of the situation. But I love
Yeah.
Egon's line even before that. He's like, because the cops are like, "How's it going?" He's like, "Oh, it's cutting real nice. We're doing good." He's
It's
like, "What are you
cutting
cutting
fine
for?"
now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I like how finally the cop leaves. It's like, they're talking to Egon. "What have you been doing? What have I been doing? Why, you been getting coffee for an hour? I've been digging
Yeah.
a giant hole in the middle of the street."
So yeah, they send Ray down, and he discovers that there's a river of slime flowing underneath New York City.
Yeah.
And he kind of freaks out, and they pull him back up. And the police department and the electric company kind of find out that they're not supposed to be there, and they get caught. And then that leads into what
Well,
I
the
think is
the cot scene. Let's go back to the cot scene because this was
Mhm.
pretty fucking good. The cop who stopped him earlier comes back, and then Peter's like, "Wait." And a guy from Con Ed. Most people don't know who this is right now. Con Edison was a telephone company, back when we all had landlines. So the Con Ed guy comes out of his car, and he came in a separate car with the cop, but they came together. He walk over. "Hey, what are you doing? You're gonna come rouse my monkey tree again? Huh? I got about 10,000 miles of cable I gotta check. You're gonna come here and rouse my monkey tree?" He's like, "Hey, buddy, the phone lines are over there." It's like, and then he turns to Egon and slaps him on the helmet. "What did I say to you? How many times? The phone lines are over there." And then he's like, "Hey," and the cop says, "Hey, you're not with the city or the telephone company. We checked. So tell me another one." He's like, "I got a major gas leak here. What do you think all this is coming from? The sky?"
This guy? Yeah.
And he just, no matter what, he's always trying to come up with a new, he's never
Excuse.
lost. Peter's
Yeah.
never loses.
Mm-hmm.
Is it? And it's so. I thought that was so reflective of his character. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter if you caught him in two lies in a row. He hasn't
Mhm.
lost.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He hasn't lost till he stopped speaking. And I just thought that was
Right.
such a good writing of his character. But yeah, and then while they're talking, the slime starts trying to grab like Ray's foot, and so he's like, "Get me out of here, guys!" And they reel him up real fast, and it's weird because they're reeling him up, right? He's going up, and the slime isn't grabbing at him anymore, and he's freaking out.
Yeah.
I mean, he's like, "Get me the fuck out of here!" Like you're getting out of here, and he
Yeah.
starts going crazy, and he's like wailing his feet, and he kicks the pipe. It's like, why are you kicking? You're leaving.
Yeah. He's just like
Anyways,
panicking,
kicks the
and all the
pipe.
lights go out.
And then on another video I watched, I was like, why is this so easy? Like this pipe looked like it was gonna break anyways.
Yeah.
And like all the power to the whole city is right beneath this pipe. So he kicks the pipe and yeah, black out the city. Sorry, I just wanted to jump in
Yeah.
on that
And
interaction. 'Cause
I like the Venkman stuff that you were talking about, how he never loses, because there's a great comedic beat where you think he is gonna lose because he goes, "Tell me another one," and there's like a good 3 seconds where he's just staring at him.
yeah, he's just
Well, I got a thing over here.
just
So it's
formulate,
like,
and he's like,
yeah,
you know, it's the kind of look on his face of, have I lost?
yeah,
No, you know,
yeah.
so good.
So I like that a lot.
And that is also, it's also in the courtroom scene.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like, because he's like, as another thing we didn't talk about, it was a super awesome scene where he's like, typically you'll be leading the witness in a courtroom scene on like kind of feeding them lines, but he's feeding the lawyer lines.
Yeah.
He's feeding, you know, it's like, yeah, there's no evil intended. There's no malice. It's a one-shot deal. I thought that was a super awesome scene too.
Do we want to continue? No, I think we've helped them enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, this leads us to the courtroom scene, which in my opinion is the best scene of the whole film. I mean, God, every fucking 30 seconds.
Do you realize how long we've talked and we've only got to the courtroom scene?
Yeah.
See, that's why I don't get it. Why people don't like 2. There's a big part of the community. 2 has gotten a real big following later in life. I think people realize it is a really good sequel and it's a really good movie. I mean, it's a great companion piece. Is it better? Probably not. I tend to like it a little bit more. It just has some more nostalgia in my life, but it's a good movie, dude. We're coming up with all these things and these cool things, and we're just to the courtroom scene, which some people really consider the beginning of the movie. Because this is where actual shit starts happening. But anyways, continue on the courtroom.
So yeah, like I said, I think it's my favorite scene of the film.
Oh yeah.
And every fucking 15 seconds there's just a quotable line, and it's the first time, I think the movie's probably going for about 35 to 40 minutes, and you're reintroduced to Rick Moranis. I'm forgetting his character's name, but
Louis Tully.
Lewis, that's right. who was the lawyer.
And I like the line is like, the first introduction is like him, they're at the bench, right? The defendant's bench. And it's Peter, Ray, and Egon, right? Winston is never included, not even in the court cases.
Yeah, he gets kind of pushed to the sidelines in this movie.
Yeah, he drops the books on there. It's like, guys, I don't know about being your lawyer. That's the first introduction. He's like, I mostly do probate and tax law.
Yeah.
I got my degree at night school.
Well, we got arrested at night, so
yeah, that's fine. We got arrested at night. So that's a good line. And then Winston, like you said, kind of talks to him. He's in the courtroom, which is strange. He's in the courtroom, but he doesn't join them to bust the ghosts later.
Yeah.
It's like he has said that he was pissed that they kind of pushed him to the sideline on the movie. But they did on the first one too.
Yeah. It's almost to the point like why is he even in the film? But
they tried to give him some stuff. Like they gave him, because they rewrote this a couple times. The train stuff where they go down underground.
Yeah.
That was later. That was filmed later because they felt like they needed more, something scary to raise the stakes, like a benevolent force trying to stop them. So they did that later, and they wanted it to be Winston, so it would give him some more scenes. And so he's got some stuff, but yeah, he's Winston. Sorry,
Yeah.
you're not going to get as much screen time as Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd. But
Right.
that's just the way it's going to be.
Um, but yeah, so I don't even know where. I mean, so they get charged with. I don't know what they're charged with, but they get a $25,000 fine, and then like I think it was like a couple
Well,
of years.
yeah, the mayor's assistant comes over, and he's like, fraud, malicious
That's right.
mischief,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he like lists off all their charges, and he's like, I'll see you in a couple years at your first parole hearing. And I
Hmm.
love Peters. They'll never take us alive.
So yeah, but at the same time during the cross examinations, they introduce evidence, which is the goo that Ray brought from the street. It's in a jar. And as they're getting sentenced, the judge is screaming at them, and they notice the goo bubbling up, and they're like,
Yeah.
"Hey, judge," and they're trying to get his attention. Um, and the judge keeps screaming till the point where he kind of stands up and yells. To which point, out of nowhere, two fucking ghosts dive out of the slime jar, and
The
whole
Scoleri
courtroom fucking
brothers.
goes crazy. And yeah, the judge recognizes the ghosts as the Scoleri brothers, who he sentenced to the electric chair. And
Yeah.
then they and then they try to convince the judge to drop the charges so they can take care of the ghost, which is another great Lewis scene.
Well, yeah, where he's like, do something. The judge, the guy who plays the judge is really good.
Hmm.
Uh, he's like, they can't do anything. There's a judicial restrainement order. That blue thing that I got from her.
Yeah, I
You
love it
could.
because Lewis the shot's right here, right, and then he just slides into screen and then delivers his dialogue.
And
That's
he's like,
me.
and I like how he just pronounces it all wrong. He's like, judicial restrainement order.
That blue thing I got from her.
Yeah, and he's like, they could be exposing themselves, and you don't want us exposing ourselves. And he's like, fine, dismissed. I received the order. Yeah, and they grab their equipment and then proceed to have a pretty awesome scene where they bust
Yeah.
ghosts in suits.
So they take care of the ghosts, and another. I used to like the line, but for whatever reason, when I watched this morning, I thought it was a little corny. It's still a fun line, but I don't know if it was the delivery, but a little corny. But they get the ghost in the trap, and they're standing over it, and they go, "Two in the box, ready to go. We be fast and they be slow," which it's a little corny, but
It's good.
it's fun. So then that kind of goes into like a little montage of their back. And I kind of want to
No,
back up to what
hold
you're.
on. That line though, that's that could have been. I mean, I've heard a plan to start it off like that's the first scene. Like you start with the courtroom scene, right, in the movie. You're right there, and maybe instead of it being them turning off the lights of the city, it's because remember they said we are sued by every state, county in the beginning, and that's why they're doing birthday parties. I've heard it said started off with that. You're in the courtroom scene, and it's them being sued for all the shit from the first one, right?
Yeah.
And then by the end, when they come out, uh, we're the best, we're the beautiful, we're the only Ghostbusters. We're back. And then you
Do the montage.
and I was like, yeah, that could be a really quick and awesome opening. But like I said, I don't think it needed it because I loved every part leading up to this.
Yeah. I actually want to go back to before we move on to the courtroom scene, because there's actually a joke in the courtroom that has gone over my head even when I was a kid. Even now watching it this morning, it goes over my head. I don't know if I just don't get the reference or what, but maybe you can explain. But there's the scene where they're about to bust the Scoleri brothers, and they're turning on their proton packs, and Venkman goes "do," and then Ray says, "Did he say Ray?"
Yeah.
And then Egon says "Egon," and they look at him, and Egon's like, "That joke always went over my head. I don't understand the
joke's
the
awesome.
reference of that."
Joke's awesome because it's the scales and notes of singing. So turns it on do, Ray, and it should be
okay.
me.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah.
Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Right.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And then Ray just happens to be the second one, so he's kind of he kind of has fun because he gets to say Ray. So Ray.
Yeah.
Egon. I thought that was a fucking awesome scene.
Okay, so that make okay. I never understood. Yeah, I never understood that joke, but now it makes sense.
Yeah, super
Um.
cool.
So yeah, now we go. So here's my. I wanted to go back to what you're saying about the naysayers of the movie, and we've been talking so long, we've only got to the courtroom scene, and I think it's because I mean, for me, watching it this morning, I think the first half is way stronger than the second in terms. I think the first probably hour of this movie is awesome. But then I think it kind of slows down in the middle and kind of drags in the end a little bit.
Yeah.
For me personally.
Yes.
Um, so yeah, where do we? I mean, do we still want to go beat for beat, or do you want to summarize the second half of the film?
Well, yeah, you can. Yeah, I think the beat for beat is was good for that. But yeah, we can kind of scoot ahead and do it too. But before we do, right after they get back in business is where you see all the cool stuff. Where like now they have the Ghostbusters 2 symbol. They
Yeah,
introduced the new Ectomobile. I kind of want your thoughts on the Ecto 1A because as a kid and still now, I prefer the Ecto 1A. I mean, Ecto 1 was iconic, but I don't know. I just liked adding the caution strips. I liked how they added a symbol on the hood now, so there's a little more going on, and there's way more equipment on top. It's just ridiculously tall now,
yeah,
and it's like you see, it's like, what's ridiculous? It's just a funny image. It's got way more lights on it, and I liked it because it was the Ecto, but then upgraded. You know, I don't see them as that's why it's the Ecto 1A, not the Ecto 2, because it's the same car. They just
yeah.
built up on it. So I liked that car. A lot of people don't.
I think it's fine. I think the only thing I don't like is the text reader thing on the side.
Oh yeah,
I
that's
don't know what
cool.
those. I don't know what those are technically called, but I don't know. I could do without that. But other than that,
Ghostbusters for hire.
other than that, the things you mentioned, or I think are a good addition to the one. But yeah, I'm not a
That's
fan of the text thing.
that's why I like the game. The game is pretty much a mix of both
Mm,
because you know it takes place after two. So it looks like they took some of the stuff off the top and they replaced the symbols with the original symbol again, but they still had the caution tape and stuff. And they called it the Ecto 1B.
mm,
So that car is pretty cool. Maybe they should have had a version of that in Afterlife. I think could have been cool, like to
yeah,
show that Ghostbusters 2 happened, right? Because I don't know if it almost seems like Afterlife is neglecting 2. I don't know if in this timeline 2 never happened or what, because you know the car was changed, all this stuff was changed, but now it's back to the original.
yeah. I don't know.
Might have been cool to see maybe just caution tape. That's it, just the caution
Mhm.
tape on the side of the Ecto 1, so you know, okay, yeah, that came from 2, so that's why that's on there.
Right.
But yeah, I wanted to get your input on Ecto. And but what I was going to say before that is that they introduce all the stuff. They have the commercial. It's like, hey, we're back, and it's like we're having a special discount. And you know, Peter's like, hold on, have we all gone crazy? And it's like, uh, yeah, I think we have. Tell him what we got, Egon. And he's like, oh, do you mean the free thermal beverage mug and balloons for the kids? And another thing that it made sense when I watched this retrospective nostalgia critic was like, this whole movie takes place in the time span of like maybe November to New Year's, right? Because there's Christmas in there. Like during that montage, they're running around with the Christmas hats, the Santa hats. I kind of want to do that for Halloween. I want to have the Santa hat with this suit that they have. Like that'd
Yeah.
be kind of cool, deep cut. But he's like, how in the hell from November to Christmas did you somehow reacquire the firehouse, make all this merchandise? You manufacture cups, balloons, suits,
Yeah.
rebuilt the car, all all in the matter of like a month and a half. And I was like, yeah, goddamn, they did some work.
Yeah. A
So
little bit of a stretch.
I thought that was funny, but that montage of them coming back, those are some of my favorite scenes, and like the music they have playing. uh they got the goop. They're like getting samples of it. They're in like a jewelry store, and you get to see the special trap they use that they never use again. It's like a different ghost trap. It's like on a tripod, and it's
Oh
like a
yeah, yeah.
it's like a cylindrical ghost trap, and then it like shoots out all these lasers and like gets the ghost that way. I thought that was kind
Hmm.
of cool to see more tech introduced, but they didn't really go into it. And then I like to also say, like, I love these gray suits. They wanted to do something different, but every redesign of the suit and stuff didn't really work, so they just kind of changed the color. And then I guess he wasn't a big fan of it, Reitman, after they did it. So they filmed all those montages and things. And then you notice by the end of the movie, they're back in the khaki suits.
Yeah.
I mean, they have the two patch, but they're the khaki suits again. Probably also because it's nighttime, and these wouldn't
Yeah. Probably wouldn't translate.
just like the Ecto was gonna be black, but uh, it just didn't work during nighttime shot, so they made it white.
Hmm.
But anyways, I want to touch on the. I think those montages are like some of my favorite stuff. Like
Yeah.
definitely.
So yeah, I guess from there we actually get into the actual plot of the film, which is that the museum that Dana works at gets a painting, um, and this painting hosts some like medieval fucking Titan guy named Vigo, and he wants to basically wreak havoc on the world, and he's gonna take and he needs a baby to like kind of reincarnate himself into this baby. So he uses Janos to try and kidnap the baby. So that kind of leads into the plot of the film for the second half of the film. Um, and yeah, I wanted to mention that we were talking earlier about what scenes were scary, and I didn't think anything of the first one, but I did say there were some scenes in the second one that freaked me out as a kid. The first one that freaked me out was there's a scene where Janos goes to Dana's house, and after the power goes out, and he's checking in on her, and because the power's out, the hallway is a red. It's like a backup light kind of thing,
Yeah.
and she kind of shuts him down. He's trying to get in to get the baby or whatever, and she shuts him down. And it cuts to a wide shot. The hallway is just bleeding red, basically. Not bleeding, but is colored red. And he starts walking down the hallway towards the frame, and his eyes start glowing, and he starts kind of like panicking. I don't know. That always like freaked me out as a kid.
Yeah. Back to that because anytime Janos comes on screen, I gotta quote him. But when he goes to the apartment, it's during the blackout, and so he's obviously around. You know what I mean? Because as soon as the blackout happens, he's like at her
Yeah.
house. And I love how he's like, he says, "Oh, hello, Dana. I just thought I would check on you and the baby because of all of this blackness. I don't know this blackness. It's the way he describes a blackout." And she's like, "Oh, we're fine." He's like, "Oh, and the baby?" She's like, "He's fine." He's like, woo! And he does this little woo, and
Yeah.
then she's like, "Oh, he's sleeping." He's like, "Oh,
Oh, but I would.
but I woo." And he's like, "So anyway, do you want me to come in? You know?"
Mhm.
And she's like, "No." And then it's just a super awkward scene. And
Yeah.
yeah, he plays it so well. Yeah, I don't remember being scared of that scene, but I remember it was freaky imagery.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do remember as a kid, like holding two flashlights up to my eyes, though,
Mm.
and doing that, and like walking down the hallway. I remember doing that
That's even
specifically.
creepier. If I woke up and my son was walking down the hallway in the middle of the night with two flashlights, I'd be like, you all
all
right?
of the, all of this blackness. Yeah, turn the fucking light on.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, for the rest of the movie, it kind of goes to the same beats of the first. They kind of keep investigating, and they find out that you know, the ooze is reacting to like the anger of the city, and then they kind of make a scene at a restaurant where Venkman and Dana are trying to have a dinner, and that gets them put into the mental institution. Which in the first one they got put in jail. This one they got put in a mental institution. And then because they're in there, there's no one to stop. You know everything that's going on. So the city, all the ghosts and the demons, and they kind of run amok. And then they let the Ghostbusters back out. And yeah, and then the showdown is they trying to get in the museum and they can't. From what I remember, I was kind of doing laundry this morning, so I kind of stepped out for a couple minutes. But and
Yeah,
then they have an awesome kind of climactic moment with the Statue of Liberty, which was pretty fun.
Yeah. Yeah,
Walking down New York.
they couldn't get in the building because the negativity was so strong
Yeah.
that their weapons couldn't do anything against it. And then, you know, then Ray has that really cool little monologue there where he's like, I just can't believe it's gotten so bad in this city that there's no turning back. It's like, sure, people would rather spit on you than look at you, but is there not a bit of decency left in this old burnt out bird? And you know, he's like, you just need something, and then something kind, and then, you know, it pans into something pure, something, and then they're doing this, and then they're all looking at the license plate, which has the Statue of Liberty on it. So they use the Statue of Liberty to try and to galvanize enough positive feeling from all the crowd watching to be able to break through. And yeah, that's a pretty cool scene. Well, it goes back, I guess we didn't talk about it too much, that one scene where they're testing the slime. That's a really good
toaster
scene too. Yeah, and they're like, check this out. Oh, you worthless piece of slime! And it's like bubbling, and then they're yelling at it. They put it in the toaster, and it's like, oh, I get it. It sings. It sounds just like Jackie Wilson. Hold on, and it starts dancing. And that's another one of my quotable favorite lines where he sticks his finger and it's like, oh yeah. Winston's like, one of his best lines too. Yeah, the first time somebody gets angry, the toaster can eat their hand. And then Peter's like, no, we put a warning label on it. We have no liability. And he has two fingers in the slots. And oh! And then they're all worried. And he's like, did you ever go for it? The old man-eating toaster bit. I still say that. The old man-eating toaster bit. But yeah, they get the Statue of Liberty. And that's a pretty cool scene where they're like, they use the slime blowers and blow their load all over the inside of the Statue of Liberty so it can get possessed by the slime and walk. And
they play the song again.
Yeah. Well, this time they play is it the same song?
I'm pretty sure it's the same song, Higher and Higher.
Your
I thought it was.
Yeah. Lifting me higher. Yeah, it is the same song, yeah. Than I ever. Yeah, I like that song now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good scene, man. I love it. Statue of Liberty, fun fact. The part, you know, in the crown, that's not big enough for a human to look out of.
Yeah.
They had to take some liberties with the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah, I found some little tidbits just going through like the IMDb trivia, you know, stuff. Apparently the actor who plays Vigo, that's actually not his voice. It was dubbed by another actor, and the real actor who played him didn't know until the premiere, and he got so pissed he walked out of the screening because they replaced his voice.
Yeah, but go on YouTube and watch the original.
Oh, it's out there?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Go watch that and tell me if you think they should have left that in there. It's like, I am Vigo, the scourge of Carpathia, the sorrow of Moldavia. Now is a season of evil. And he has a lisp. And it's like, oh, it's bad. It's like, you can't leave that in there. That's not a villain. Yeah, but yeah, they had to redub that shit. They just got him for his looks, obviously.
Yeah.
Like he was like a Scandinavian wrestler or something, so they just got him because he's big and menacing, and then they painted the painting to look like him. But yeah. It's on there. Go on YouTube. Vigo's real voice. There's scenes of them like filming, and it sounds bad.
Pretty rough. Damn.
It's funny sounding. It's like, let's go. We should redub the whole movie with the original audio and see how much funnier it is.
Yeah.
Then it's a comedy.
The other thing they had in there was that Bill Murray did an interview with Entertainment Weekly. I don't know if it was how many years after the movie. It could have been right after. It could have been years. He's reflecting on this movie. It was unclear. But he said that he wasn't very happy with the film and that the special effects team took over the movie and they cared more about special effects than they did about them. I don't know if I agree with that. I feel like there was a lot of great character stuff in there, so I don't think I agree with him. But maybe there's some on-set shit that he had to deal with. But and then the other thing I saw was kind of
I think he's speaking to the fact that, because I know a little bit of backstory, is this film had like two different endings. The first ending, I guess, didn't work, and they had a release date set up, and so I guess ILM did the special effects, and they
Mhm.
just kept adding new shots that needed special effects to the point where ILM had to outsource some of it to get it done. And at, I guess one point ILM said, no, we're not accepting any more special effects. Like we we're working on what you have given us, and that's it. No more.
Yeah.
So maybe he's talking to that, you know, changing the end of the movie and adding more special effects.
Right.
I'm curious to what that first ending was, because this film has gone through a bunch of different changes. Um, so I don't know. Maybe there's a cut out there that could have been made that would be better, but I don't
Mhm.
know.
Yeah. And then the other thing I thought was interesting, which kind of goes to what we were saying in the opening of this episode, was that, you know, even though Ghostbusters was this massive, massive hit in '84, it wasn't until the real Ghostbusters premiered that all the merchandise, kind of like what you were saying, the merchandise comes out, big
Hmm.
following with kids, to the point where this movie was kind of tamed down compared to the
Yes.
first one for to get the kid viewership. So like
Yeah.
things like they don't smoke anymore. They
Yep.
smoked a lot in the first one. There's no sexual jokes in the first one. There's not a whole lot. I mean, there is one sex joke in here, but which was a weird one. But yeah, it did seem a little more tame and less adult than the first one did.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's another thing. There was a huge. There was going to be a really big subplot with Slimer because Slimer was so popular in the show that they
Hmm.
wanted they mandatory included Slimer, and they redesigned him so he looks more like the show Slimer than like the first movie.
Hmm.
And there's going to be this whole subplot of Lewis the whole time trying to catch Slimer.
Mm,
So that's why they kept some of their interactions.
yeah, him at the
Uh,
firehouse and everything.
yeah, and then Slimer driving the bus. I was like, didn't know you
Yeah.
had your license. But but then I guess they tested the footage, and everybody, kids especially, were indifferent to it.
Hmm.
They didn't say they enjoyed the Slimer part, so they're like, well, fuck it. We thought you wanted Slimer. If you don't want, we're cutting him out then.
Yeah, interesting. Um, yeah, I don't know. Like, I guess overall thoughts of the second one, watching it again as an adult. I mean, I've seen it as an adult since, but like fresher in my mind. I don't get the extreme hate for this film because there's a lot. I was also, while I was doing the trivia on IMDb, I was also looking at user reviews. There's a lot of nines and eights, but then you start getting the twos and the ones and the threes of like cash cash grab sequel and yada yada yada. I don't agree with this movie being a 2 and a 3. I think that's pretty ridiculous. This movie is pretty good. I just don't think it's as good as the first. Like I said, I think the first half is great. I think it's
Yeah.
insanely entertaining. It's where all the best jokes come from. And then I think the second half kind of stumbles a little bit in terms of
Yeah.
being entertaining, but that's just my opinion. But it's still a good movie. I think it's a good sequel. There's a lot of great moments in it. But yeah.
I think if you consider the first one a 10, then I think this one's probably an 8. And if you
Hmm.
consider the first one a 9, this one's probably a 7.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just two points behind.
Hmm.
So and I know number one's high, so 2 points behind is not going to be terrible.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, I would
yeah,
agree with that.
I think it's one of the unsung sequels. Well, it's not unsung; everyone knows about it, but it's underappreciated, and the
Yeah.
fan base kind of hates it. But like I said, lately there are a lot of people who like Ghostbusters 2 more. Like
Mm.
it just took some time to get some treading. Now people watch it without, because when it came out, it had all this aura of cash grab sequel, and it came out the same year as Batman. It had to compete against all this weird stuff.
Yeah.
But now people that watch it now, they watch 1 and 2, they have no context of any of that, and they can just enjoy it for what it is, which
Hmm.
is a pretty fun sequel, just a way to get back in. And it works. It's not bad.
Yeah. I don't think it's bad either. I think, yeah, scoring this movie a 2 and a 3 is, you know, hyperbole. I don't think
Yeah,
that's
if you
true.
if you score this movie a 2, Ghostbusters would have to be a 4 then,
Yeah.
because it's up there.
Hmm.
I mean, it's if this came out by itself, it wouldn't have been the massive hit of Ghostbusters, but it would have been a hit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's a good sequel. It's a good companion. I like that there's two. I'd much
Hmm.
prefer there be a Ghostbusters 2 than not a Ghostbusters 2.
Right.
That's for sure.
Agreed.
So yeah, that's the thoughts on those. Both amazing movies, and it's so fun. Cosplay and all the stuff that has come from these movies and all the merch and
Hmm.
Reebok just announced some Ghostbusters shoes that are dope as fuck. Coming out on Halloween, I really want to get a pair. Um, so you quickly talk about the redheaded stepchild, fucking
Mm.
Ghostbusters 2016.
Yeah.
Doesn't deserve our time, but we'll give it to him. So we won't go into too much, but anyways, if you haven't seen Ghostbusters 2016, don't see it. Uh, don't ever watch it. It doesn't deserve to be in the same breath as Ghostbusters. It doesn't deserve to have the name Ghostbusters. It should have never been green lit. I mean, did no one read the script? I mean, you might think, oh, it's got a good director, it's got some funny actors. It did attached to it, but then, like, I'm sure the script, I know they ad libbed almost everything, but the script had the story in it, which
Yeah.
it was just terrible.
Yeah. And I also want to be very crystal clear that I guess I'm going to speak for you, but Brian and I are not trolls. We don't hate this movie because it has females and whatever fucking bullshit. It's
Yeah,
just a bad fucking movie. Like it's not funny. It's
yeah,
over the top and stupid and slapsticky and the opposite of what Ghostbusters was or
yeah.
is.
The fact that we have to say that
Hmm.
is ridiculous. You know,
Yeah.
we're such big Ghostbusters fans that we weren't even bothered by the all female cast. And
Hmm.
we weren't even bothered that it was going to be a reboot and not a sequel. I would have preferred it continue the story, right?
Yeah.
Than just like, oh, those Ghostbusters never existed. But it didn't go that way. But we both gave it a chance.
Yeah. I saw opening weekend. So yeah,
Yeah,
I was actually excited to see it.
I went into this movie wanting it to be good, right?
Hmm.
I bought this before the movie came out.
Yeah.
All right.
The hearse.
So I wanted it to work. This is
Yeah.
a ugly ass ecto car, and I bought it anyways because it's Ghostbusters.
Hmm.
So, yeah, it just didn't work. And I think anybody who has watched that movie can understand. I don't understand why, like, Paul Feig, is that how you pronounce his name?
I think it's Feig.
Feig?
Yeah.
Why he still to this day like defends that movie. Like, oh, it's a good movie, and everyone's just a piece of shit, and it shows how fucking sexist everyone is that can't handle a
Yeah.
female cast. It's like, dude,
It's
bro,
like, no, you just made a shitty movie.
at least give a little bit. Just be like, yeah, you know, it wasn't the greatest movie. It wasn't what I hoped it would be, but I'm still proud of some of the stuff we put on film. And, you know, take a
Yeah.
softer stance. Like he takes a hard stance on it. Oh my God, don't get me started on Leslie Jones too.
Mm.
Leslie Jones is a fucking, oh, the way she talks about this movie, you think it was better than Ghostbusters 1. And
Yeah.
then she's like talking about oh yeah, when Ghostbusters Afterlife came out, and it's a sequel, right? It's a sequel to Ghostbusters 1 and 2, so it makes sense. None of these people would be in it. First of all, because your movie failed.
Yeah.
Second of all, because that was a reboot, right? That had nothing to do with Ghostbusters. Like the Ghostbusters are in it, but they play different characters because that's not their world, right?
Hmm.
And she goes off on Twitter on Sony by not having the Ghostbusters in this movie and not giving their movie a sequel instead of making this movie. She went on there, oh yeah, doing this is pretty much saying fuck you to us. And she's all cursing and all this shit. I was like, what are you fucking nuts? It's like, dude, of course you're not in the fucking movie. And then
Yeah.
she's all pissed about your movie fucking sucked. Take the L and just
Hmm.
know that the Ghostbusters fanhood will forever forget about your movie. And now it's just this funny cliff note, like you said, like I bought it, and you're like, why the fuck did you buy it? Because it's that bad. It's like
Yeah.
you gotta have it on the shelf. Like, hey, check this shit out. You want to watch this piece of shit?
Yeah. Yeah, I think they should take a loss and just say, "Hey, we fucked up. You know, it wasn't what we wanted. It's unfortunate, but I'm happy that Ivan's son can continue the franchise, and let's see what he does with it. You know, we hit a bump in the road. Maybe he can have success. I mean, that would be kind of the honorable thing to do. Which I mean, I think there was a huge Twitter backlash when Jason posted some sort of photo that's like it's the side of the ecto that says like Ghostbusters is coming back or whatever his tweet was, but it was a photo of it. And that's when all the Twitter hate came and like, oh, fucking the new male cast and bringing what happened to the other ones, to the fact where he was kind of silent for a couple of days, and then he came back. He had to come back and be like, "Hey, I'm not. There's no disrespect to 2016, and I thought the good cast and great director and a great film. I'm just doing my own thing." And it's just like, what a fucking shit show.
For once, I wish somebody associated with the original Ghostbusters would just talk shit about the movie, dude. They're so afraid to because of this fucking cancel culture bullshit. So you're a
Yeah.
sexist if you don't like Ghostbusters 2016. No, I just have seen films before. Anybody
Yeah.
who has seen a film before, a comedy film especially, would know that this movie sucks. I'm sorry, dude. I got no problem with the cast or the director. Like, I thought Bridesmaids was fucking amazing. Okay.
Yeah.
One of the funniest films I've seen in a long time, Bridesmaids.
Same with Spy. I don't know if you've seen Spy with Melissa McCarthy. Paul Feig did that too. I thought it was hilarious.
I've only seen a couple parts of that, but the parts I did see were funny.
Mm-hmm.
This was not. This was just weird. It's like people playing in the Ghostbusters universe. You know what I mean? Just like fucking around on a Ghostbusters set is what it felt like. You know what I mean? But I wish somebody would come out and just talk shit about that movie because it fucking sucks. Say what everyone knows, but they're too afraid to. Like Jason, it's like, oh, it was a good movie. It was a good cast. No, it wasn't. It was a good cast and a good director. That's it.
Yeah.
Up to that point, they were a good cast and a good director. Now they've all had a terrible fucking movie on the record.
Mm-hmm.
Just say it. The only person that it has, and I respect him for it, is fucking Ernie Hudson. Ernie Hudson don't take no shit, and he's the one that'll believe anything if there's a paycheck in it.
Mm-hmm.
And he still said, he's talked shit about that movie. He's like, dude, that movie's terrible. That movie fucking sucks. And he didn't say it in those terms, but he is the only one who's been critical of the movie, and he's in it. So more power to him, man. It's true. Sorry, sucks.
Yeah.
You know
Which
what?
is funny. He's raving about the new one, which kind of gets. I mean, you kind of have to because you're a good. But I guess he's maybe seen a cut of the film. He's like, yeah, you Ghostbusters fans, man. Jason's done it right this time. I'm like, woo.
Well, I mean, judging from the trailer, it seems like they did. I mean, even if you look at the trailer of 2016, it didn't give you anything to be hopeful about. Even
I after we did our trailer response video, I sat on the couch and I watched, because I went and talked to Sarah after, and she's like, how'd the video go? And I was kind of talking to her about the trailer because it was the first time I'd seen it that night and she hadn't seen it. So I was kind of telling her all the Paul Rudd stuff because she loves Paul Rudd. And anyways, I'm like, yeah, the tone is so different from the 2016 version. And then I sat and watched the 2016 version trailer, and it's so different. Like, there's a scene at the end of the first trailer where like Melissa McCarthy's being possessed or something, and she's like, and she like goes out a window, and Leslie Jones is like, "The power of Christ compels you," and like slaps her in the face, and it's just like, oh my god, what is this?
Oh yeah, and another thing I wanted to mention about that was like, I think it's strange how, I don't know, maybe some people were being sexist assholes and not liking it because of that. I never met those people.
There definitely was. I saw a lot of fucked up comments in like the YouTube page.
There's a lot of trolls. That's gonna happen.
Yeah.
With anything. So I don't know if those people were serious. I think most of them were probably just doing it to do it.
To fuck around.
And just to be trolls and be funny, because that shit's kind of funny. You know, talking shit with anonymity on the internet's pretty fun. But I've never met those people.
Mm-hmm.
I've never met anyone that hates that movie just because it's like, oh, fuck the women Ghostbusters and all that. They all have a good reason to hate it, like we do, just because they didn't like the film. That's the only reason. But I think it's funny, and like I said, don't watch it. Forget that. Go watch it, and then make up your own mind.
Yeah.
Watch that movie. Make up your own mind. I guarantee you, it's probably going to be close to our mind. Yeah, watch it. Make a decision. It's worth one watch. Okay, give it one watch. Give it a chance. Like every Ghostbuster fan should have or did, and see what's up. But
Yeah, and like if you like that movie, then cool. You know, maybe that comedy is up your alley. It's not up my alley, it's not up your alley, but if that movie works for you, then cool, whatever. But don't blame the criticisms on some mystery sexism or whatever. Like, no, some of us just think it's a bad fucking movie.
I feel bad for the person that does like that movie because then they're
Hmm.
like, God damn it, I'm never gonna get my sequel. And they're just waiting for that 2016 Ghostbusters 2. And
Yeah.
I like how the movie was so bad after the movie, after a while when it came on DVD, they changed the name. That's how bad
Oh
it was.
yeah, that's right.
They
Yeah, yeah.
didn't want this movie to be associated with the first Ghostbusters film. They wanted it to be because it was just called Ghostbusters the whole time. Ghostbusters. It's the new one. It's just 2016 is what people called it because it came out in 2016. But then they changed the name because it sucked so bad in the backlash. They didn't want it to be associated with that Ghostbusters, just that name. So it changed to Ghostbusters Answer the Call.
Yeah.
That's like, answer the call. Like,
Where'd
really?
that come from?
Yeah. Oh, who you gonna call? I get it. They're answering. Who's here? It's a fucking prank call, is what it is. Is your refrigerator running? Better get it, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah, the
but
movie is not very
but
good.
but what I wanted to say real quick was I think it's weird that it has all this sexism stuff said, but if you watch the film, I think the film is the most sexist part of any of this conversation.
Oh, the Chris Hemsworth stuff?
Well, everything. Every
Mm.
male character in this movie is either a blumbering idiot or evil.
Hmm.
One of the two. That's it. You got Hemsworth being just so stupid, just an idiot, and then you got the main bad guy. I don't know who he is. He's like, it looks like a waiter or something is what I remember, and he's just completely like evil. It's like every man character. There's not like a normal guy in there. They're all stupid or evil or bad or trying to ruin the girls. They all have uh, either a terrible motive or they're just dumb. Like Hemsworth is just. So I was like, that seems really weird. Like
Yeah, like,
why?
I guess like the devil's advocate that I've heard is that, other movies treat their one female character as a bumbling bimbo. But my retort to that is, well, not in Ghostbusters. Like, yeah, sure, other movies probably use those tropes, but I don't remember any bimbo female characters. And there, I mean, you could argue maybe Dana's a damsel in distress, but she's not a bimbo, and neither is the receptionist. I don't
Oh yeah,
picture
I
her as a
mean
bimbo at all.
Janine. I mean she's like talking shit to the Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
She's telling Peter, I've quit better jobs than this. She has no problem giving them what's what.
Hmm.
You know, uh, the closest thing to a bimbo in the Ghostbusters movies, I would say, is probably the woman that Louis Tully is dancing with.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
She's got the big tits, and I
Right.
think she's just she's there, she's bouncing for no
Yeah.
reason apparently, and but yeah, she's in the movie for like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
So, uh, good point. But that's just an observation I've made watching the movie because I went into the movie knowing all the things that have been said, and then during the movie, I'm like, oh wow, I just think they're actually. It's almost like the movie was made after all of the comments. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
they
yeah.
and they made it that way to be like, well, fuck you guys who hate women. We're gonna do this to you. But it wasn't.
Right.
It was
Hmm.
obviously already made, and it was like that. So I
Yeah,
don't
pretty
care.
weird.
I really don't care.
Yeah.
It doesn't bother me. But I just
It's
thought it
just
was
ironic.
it's a weird situation. Yeah, I own it. I mean, it's not good, but whatever. I just we'd be remiss not to talk about that because it is
Yeah.
a Ghostbusters movie. It got made. I see triple packs of the Blu-ray, all three films. I'm like, why? Like, why is this film in the triple pack? Like, if people want
Hmm.
it, go buy it, but don't put it in there. Like, it doesn't connect anyway to Ghostbusters. It's just a
Yeah.
standalone kind of
Standalone.
film.
Hmm.
Um, but it almost sucks it didn't work out because that's when like Ghostbusters was sold around that time, and that's how that movie got made. And because you remember at the beginning of 2016, Ghostbusters is like No Ghost Productions or something like that. Like they started a production company for it, and it was supposed to be the production company that was going to be in charge of it. They were going to do it like Marvel. They're just going to have. They're going
Mm.
to start pumping out movies and TV shows and cartoons all with the No Ghost Productions or something. And so, but it didn't work out, so it didn't really get off the ground. So I don't know. I don't think they're going to do that anymore. But it would have been cool if that would have been successful, because then we would have got a lot more Ghostbuster content. But
Yeah.
because it's not much content, at least we get Afterlife.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Well, I mean, we're kind of in a social political discussion here, but so I don't know if we want to stay too much longer on it, but it is kind of interesting. You know, I just watched the trailer for the first time with you on Friday, and based on the trailer, um, the protagonist looks like a woman or a young girl. So I'm wondering why there isn't a backlash. You know, where's all the trolls saying, "Oh, you're just," you know, it's
Yeah,
really weird that the 2016 got that hit, but this one didn't. For I don't know what the difference is. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's weird.
I think some of it has to do with they can tell right off the bat that they're respecting the franchise, right?
Yeah, that's probably it.
Because this is a sequel. So
Yeah,
they know that the original Ghostbusters are going to have some part in it. We don't know how big, but I think just the fact that they know they're respecting the franchise, and because everything in the trailer looked like, okay, this might work. This might be really cool. So maybe that goes into it, because you didn't get that feeling with the trailer of 16 at
yeah,
all,
that's true. I
right?
remember everyone hating that trailer,
Yeah,
even myself included. Like I was just hearing the news leading up to 2016, 2016 version, and like knowing the cast, and like we were saying, the director, he has good movies, the cast is great. I was like, fuck yeah, dude, I cannot wait for new Ghostbusters with this cast, this director, it's gonna be awesome. And then I saw the trailer and I'm like, oh fuck, oh fuck, you know, like that was really bad, not just bad but really bad. So maybe that was it.
yeah, and it's funny you say social political commentary, and that's isn't it weird, because that's not what we're doing at all.
Yeah,
We're talking about a movie. We're talking about things that fans said about the movie, which aren't even
hmm,
us,
yeah, yeah,
and somehow that's a political, social statement. It's really not, and that's what we're trying to say
it shouldn't
here.
have to be. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Is that we're just talking about a film. We're not talking about sexism in America. I
Right.
mean, there's a twist to that because of the way it was played out, but I'm just talking about a film, just like I would any other film. And it's sad that it's anytime that that movie's mentioned, that kind of cloud hangs over it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's probably my fault because I'm the one who brought it up. But I just feel like, unfortunately, that's just part of
No, that is
that movie's history. It's like, yeah, like you said, it's kind of a bummer.
the case. But I just hope that our viewers can understand that that's when you get down to it, that's really not what we're doing.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
analyzing it because it's part of uh, the umbrella of the movies we're talking about today, and that's just the most interesting thing to talk about with that movie. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
Like the plot, the cast, like that's the thing you think about when you hear about that movie, is that big controversy and the big the box office flop and everything like that. But
yeah.
yeah, and hey, we gave that movie some advertisement. There you go. It's more than you deserve.
Right.
Maybe some people will watch it now for the first time because they heard about it here. I don't know. Uh, but yeah, Ghostbusters franchise. I think it's hopefully this new movie does really well, so we can keep it going. You never know. A lot of these sequels that take place way later end up sucking or failing, so they
Yeah.
don't do it ever again. So I hope it goes well. I think we both agree now from what it sounds like. Ghostbusters 1, all time classic. Like, that's one of my favorite comedies.
Yeah, 100%.
I put it up there with like Caddyshack. That's another one of my favorite comedies.
Hmm.
Uh, which is weird because Caddyshack is a comedy, right? You think of
Yeah, yeah,
Caddyshack, like in my mind, that's a comedy. It's almost like the Seth Rogen type comedies of today, but back then, where it's just
sure.
overtly ridiculous in a comedy. But Ghostbusters is nothing like that.
Yeah.
But still from like the same kind of era. It's such a special film the way
Hmm.
they made it. And Ghostbusters 2, like we said, very underappreciated. I think it's finally getting some recognition as being a good sequel. Watch it, please. Make your own decision now without the fog.
Yeah.
And I think you'll find that you'll like it, and it's a good companion piece to Ghostbusters, and you get to see our favorite characters again, and we get to get a little more insight into them, and we get some more funny quotable stuff.
Hmm.
Um, I think that might be it. And then, of course, 2016 happened. It happened.
Yes.
But yeah, that's all I got. You got any parting messages about this or any?
No, I think you summed it up pretty well. Yeah, the first one's a classic. I think the second one's pretty good. I think it has issues, but I think it's, any Ghostbuster fan who hasn't seen it needs to watch it. It's definitely watchable. And yeah, the 2016 Ghostbusters, I guess give it a shot if you're curious and you've been on the fence for the past 4 years. Give it a shot and see what you think. And yeah, I'm pretty stoked for Afterlife. I hope it's not a case of amazing trailer, shitty movie, but I like Jason Reitman's stuff, and I
Yeah,
think that hopefully he can knock it out of the park because I'm really hoping for a win.
yeah, and being the original director's son, I think he has enough reverence for the material and knowledge of the lore to know not to, you know, fuck it up.
Yeah.
I think it's a large weight for him to carry, and that I think if anyone can do it, he could probably do it
Mhm.
because he's always said he was the first Ghostbusters fan, which was true.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a child on the set of Ghostbusters, and so he was a fan of it before anybody ever even saw it in theaters. So
Hmm.
it's pretty fitting that the first Ghostbusters fan would make the first real sequel to Ghostbusters.
Yeah. Agreed.
Cool.
Well, I think that wraps up our October Halloween thon, I guess, right? Because our next
Yeah,
episode is
November 1st.
November 1st.
Yeah. So thanks for spending Spooktober with us. Hope you enjoyed our run through of Ghostbusters. Uh, we got some stuff brewing. Big things are happening, so we're gonna probably get back onto some video game content here soon because Cyberpunk and all sorts of
Yeah.
stuff's gonna be happening real soon. Uh, when I get my PS5 in my hands, I will do an unboxing video and I'll put it up here. I will not open it. I will film the whole experience, so you're with me right there the first time it gets opened, and we'll check that out. Uh, Compare it to PS4 Pro in terms of size and things like that, and what comes in the box, and just get a better close look at it. And then of course we'll do some Cyberpunk content, and then I'll do some content on the PS5, a little bit of games that might be out, and see what we can do.
Yeah.
So big stuff coming. Holiday, always a big time for video games, so that'll be cool.
Right.
So please join us. Thanks for watching. Don't worry, we're not just going to throw films away. We're going to do that too. But notoriously, November, December are big video game months. So
Yeah. Yeah. Switch gears.
we're going to hop back in that, and who knows, maybe there'll be some good film news or something we can talk about too. So thank you guys. Thanks Watkins for hanging out. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe. We enjoy having you here. We enjoy talking. Man, it's just fun. What a blessing to be able to do it every Sunday with with a good friend and a good crowd to watch. So thanks, guys.
Yeah. Thank you.
Later.
Laters.